We've been at war for 100 years. A war started by my great-grandfather and continued by my father, Fire Lord Ozai. And it's my duty to ensure the Fire Nation succeeds. Uncle Iroh says some believe it's in our nature to expand and consume, like fire itself. All I believe is the Fire Nation must emerge victorious, and that is why I have to deliver the Avatar to my father. It's my destiny.
My father has banished me until I find the Avatar, and that's exactly what I'll do. For 3 years, I've chased down every hint, every rumor, every whisper of the Avatar. And I will find him. Who are you?
I'm Aang.
He may seem like just a boy, but he's much more. He is the Avatar.
We have a duty to protect the Avatar.
You don't have to do this alone. You have me, Katara, and a flying ball of fur. What more do you need? Like I walked into that one.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Avatar: The Last Airbender dropped a bunch of new trailers and footage with a bunch of Easter eggs and references to the original series, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I will be doing episode videos just like I did for the original Avatar series, and just like The Legend of Korra, be a big flash from the past. It's been a hot minute since I've done Avatar videos. Let me know in the comments if you actually subscribed to my channel back in the day when we were actually doing that. I think the original Korra series ended around 2014, so it has been a long time. There's a couple trailers they released, just starting with the Zuko trailer. So in the trailer, or across the entire trailer, he's writing to someone. I like to think that he's actually writing to his mother, even though he has no idea where his mother is. Part of the idea is that he's always wondered what happened to her, and doesn't really find out till after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender Book 3. It was the subject of the Avatar comic, The Search. Like, literally, he is searching for his mother because he learns that she's still alive out there somewhere. Probably one of the biggest questions in the fandom before they released that comic book was what happened to Zuko's mother, because you don't really get her story in that part of Zuko's story until he starts flashing back. I could do like 5 videos just talking about Zuko's mother and the backstory there, so we'll get into that in future bonus videos when we actually start getting episodes. But part of the idea in the trailer is that they're using his letter to also convey the story of the 100-year war of the Fire Nation against the air nomads and his search for the Avatar in present day. When he says we've been at war for 100 years, they flash back to the genocide of the air nomads. They confirm that this person is his great-grandfather, Fire Lord Sozin, which is a change from the original TV show. In the original TV show, just ordered the hit on the air nomads, because he knew that after Roku died, who he'd actually been friends with, even though they became enemies eventually, the next Avatar will be born to the air nomads, so he was actually trying to end the line of Avatars and the resurrection of Avatars by killing all the air nomads. Like, oh, if I kill them, then there can't be another Avatar. But at the time, at least on the original show, unless they've changed this in present day, is that Aang had actually already been born and he was 12 years old when this attack is actually going down. Like, he'd already become the Avatar the minute he was born. There are a couple scenes in the other trailer where you see him with Monk Gyatso, and you notice that he doesn't have his air nomad tattoos yet. So because they're showing us the actual attack on the air nomads, like we'll get Fire Lord Sozin versus Monk Gyatso, like a big fight scene between the two of them, and Aang will have already fled. Maybe they actually filmed a new scene of him getting his Airbender tattoos. Speaking of Airbenders, a lot of people wondered if this person here is actually Avatar Yang Chen. I don't think it is, only because I think this scene is meant to happen during the Fire Nation's attack on the Southern Air Temple, so I think she's just meant to be a random female Airbender. Because we're going to be getting a bunch of Zuko flashback scenes, but filmed as if they're happening in real time, like we'll actually see how Zuko got his scar instead of them just flashing back to it briefly. When he quotes the line from Uncle Iroh about the nature of firebenders being expanding and consuming like fire itself, that's a line from the original show. They'll probably have that a lot on the Netflix series, like them copying and pasting dialogue from the original series. Then we get a little scene of Zuko talking to his men on his ship about his banishment, just basically setting more context for him getting his scar, like the whole reason why he was banished in the first place, because he dishonored his father. Part of the reason why there are so many memes about Zuko trying to regain his honor during Book 1 of the original show is because his father told him he could return home if he captured the Avatar, it would restore his honor. Then this scene of Aang waking up, freaking out, seems like it's right after he comes out of the ice, like he's remembering everything that happened at the Southern Air Temple and the attack like it was just yesterday. We get a bigger scene of him meeting Sokka and then eventually Katara and explaining who he is, what he is. There are a couple scenes of Katara waterbending. A lot of people, because they heard about changes the Netflix series made to the original show, were wondering if they made her like a really good waterbender when the series begins. The way the actress talks about it, Katara is still meant to be a beginner waterbender, but I think part of what the Netflix series has done is they've sped the arcs up for the characters, so she's a slightly better waterbender than she was at the beginning of the original series. But I'm guessing they'll still have her get her final lessons, like the really important learning, when they go back to the Northern Water Tribe. Then we get a couple dialogue scenes of Gran, who's Sokka and Katara's grandmother, who actually has a long history with the Northern Water Tribe. She was actually born in the Northern Water Tribe and was supposed to marry Pakku, the person who eventually teaches Katara how to waterbend. The whole reason why she wound up and why Katara and Sokka were eventually born in the Southern Water Tribe is because she fled before she was supposed to marry Pakku. She just didn't want to be part of the Northern Water Tribe. But in the Southern Water Tribe, she eventually befriended Hama, who is the bloodbender that they run into eventually on the series that Katara eventually goes up against. She met their grandfather, and eventually their father was born, and then they were born. Part of the reason, though, why Katara isn't that good of a waterbender when the series picks up is because there's not that many waterbenders, if any, in the Southern Water Tribe, because most of them have been captured by the Fire Nation and put in prisons, particularly Hama. Then we get a brand new scene that wasn't in the original series with Avatar Kyoshi at her statue. It seems like Aang is going to get a vision and a message from Avatar Kyoshi. During the original series, Kyoshi doesn't really become a character, like you don't actually hear her talking to Aang or him getting visions of her until Book 2. One of the changes the Netflix people said they made to the original Avatar story is they sped the plot up. Aang is supposed to learn that he has to go to the Northern Water Tribe to finish learning how to waterbend from a master much sooner than he did in the original series. That might be what happens here at Avatar Kyoshi's statue. It might be Kyoshi's spirit that just speaks to him and gives him the message, you must go to the Northern Water Tribe. Early on during Book 1, most of his interactions with previous avatars are actually with Avatar Roku, who gives him a lot of these messages, so we'll see how they incorporate that into the Netflix series. Then we got a little more footage of this fight scene with Katara and the Northern Water Tribe. This is confirmed Zuko, so we get a confirmed Zuko versus Katara fight. Then we get a much longer clip with a bunch of behind the scenes and a bunch of new characters that they haven't featured in the previous trailers. So this scene where they're doing interviews with the executive producers, in like the green all around them, is actually inside King Bumi's temple in Omashu. Green for Earth Kingdom, obviously. We get a little more of Suki and the Kyoshi warriors. We actually see Suki's mother later in this too, I'll point her out. This scene of Katara is her reciting her dialogue from the original animated intro scene line for line.
Four nations used to live in harmony, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation, and Air Nomads. But that all changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
There's another new scene of Jet. He'll be a big character during Season 1. He'll probably come back at the beginning of Season 2, unless they change some of the ways that Zuko and Iroh make it into the Earth Kingdom in Ba Sing Se, because it looks like there are scenes of them inside what looks like Omashu, which would be another big change from the original series. This you might recognize as Tamlin Tomita from Karate Kid. She's done a bunch of other stuff. She also came back for Cobra Kai as that same character from Karate Kid. She's playing Yukari, who's meant to be Suki's mother on Kyoshi Island. In the original show, though, you never actually meet Suki's mother. This scene of him bumping into the statue of the owl is meant to be them doing the scene from the original intro in live action. But the funny thing about the original Avatar series is that during those original episodes, you never actually see him bump into the statue that way during the episodes themselves. He only does it in those intros. The owl is meant to be a statue of Wan Shi Tong, the owl, so maybe we'll get a reference to his library during Season 1, but in the original show, it didn't really appear until Book 2, so I think it's going to be a while before they actually go to the library itself. Speaking of which, that was another big Toph episode. We're probably not going to see Toph till either like a post-credit scene, maybe like a teaser for her character, then really becoming a main character during Season 2. And it is surreal hearing Daniel Dae Kim talk regularly about the world of Avatar while in his Fire Lord Ozai outfit. He has a long history with Avatar, so you probably remember he played Asami's father, Hiroshi Sato, during Legend of Korra, but he also starred during the original Avatar: The Last Airbender series. He was also the voice of General Fong in the Earth Kingdom during Book 2, so maybe they'll have a joke about that, but because that character didn't show up till Book 2, maybe we won't see him till Season 2. This market where Zuko and Aang are arguing seems like it's actually an Omashu just based on the architecture and the greenery around it, like all the green coloration. This would be another really big change from the original series, because Zuko eventually does bail on the Fire Nation army with Iroh, but that didn't happen until a little bit later. And after Zuko rescued Aang wearing the blue spirit mask from Zhao's prison, which we see in all the other trailers, both of them went their separate ways and didn't really run into each other until the Book 1 finale in the Northern Water Tribe. They did eventually reunite inside the Earth Kingdom, but that didn't happen till Book 2, like way later in the story. So we'll just have to see what goes on here, like what causes them to actually meet each other inside Omashu, like way earlier in the story. And this scene of Iroh looking like he's in Earth Kingdom robes also seems like it's in the same place in Omashu because they're trying to hide the fact that they're firebenders. Part of the idea is that the Earth Kingdom absolutely hates the Fire Nation, so if they learned that they were firebenders, they'd arrest them on the spot. This is a really big storyline during Book 2, like they basically hid out in Ba Sing Se, just trying to pretend like they were normal people, not firebenders. There's a whole bunch of other footage here, like I could go on for like another 30 minutes just talking about all the Easter eggs and references to the original series, so there'll be a couple more bonus videos before the series actually drops. If you have any big questions about the characters or some of the changes they made, just write them below in the comments and I'll try to address them. Because it's a Super Bowl weekend, there's a whole bunch of trailers coming. Big Deadpool 3 trailer. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. There was also a trailer for the Sonic Knuckles spin-off series. It's like a spin-off of Sonic 3. I'll try to do a video for that too in the next couple of days. Click here for all my other Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer videos, and click here for that brand new Sonic 3 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.